Alright, so the question here is, if you were to change the tire diameter from 22.75 inches to 23 inches, what effect would that have on my speedometer at 60 miles per hour? So a couple things we need to talk about. One, a mile is 5,280 feet. The other thing is 1 foot is 12 inches, and then what we're dealing with is the circumference of a tire, and that formula is pi times the diameter. And so I have a little thing here to show you why we're dealing with circumference. If this is our tire, this circle, if we roll this circle 1 revolution, that's going to be the entire distance around the circle. And it's kind of hard to imagine, so I have a friend that actually made this for me. And so as we unroll our tire, you can kind of see that the entire circumference of the circle, or all the way around it, is how far that tire will travel in 1 revolution. And so I'll kind of roll it up and unroll it again. That tire, as you rotate it 1 time, it travels this distance, which happens to be the circumference of the tire. It's the whole distance around the tire. So we're dealing with circumference on this problem. So back to the question. What we're going to do is we're going to start with this question. How many revolutions will this tire rotate, the smaller tire, in 1 hour at 60 miles per hour? So let's start with saying, well, how many inches will they travel in 1 hour at 60 miles per hour? So let's figure that out. If we're going at 60 miles per hour, we're going to multiply that by 5,280, because that is how many feet there are in a mile. So this is really feet per mile. And what ends up happening is if we have miles up here and miles down here, they'll cancel out. And then we're going to multiply by 12 inches per foot. You may have seen this like in a chemistry class. If you've taken chemistry, the feet on top and bottom cancel out. So we multiply by these, and this will tell us how many inches it will travel in 1 hour at 60 miles per hour. So let's get out our calculator. We'll do 60. Let me clear this out. 60 times 5,280 times 12. And so it's going to travel 3,801,600 inches. 3,801,600 inches in 1 hour. Okay, so let's figure out how many revolutions that will be on this tire, this 22.75 inch tire. So we're going to calculate the circumference like we said. We'll switch over to red here. So circumference of that tire is going to be 3.14 we'll use for pi. And you could, be more exact, but it's really not going to matter that much, times the diameter, which is 22.75. And so the circumference, let's calculate that, 3.14 times 22.75 is 71.435. We're not going to round here. We're going to write out all those. 71.435 inches. So what this means is, like with our little example here, every time this tire unrolls, it's going to travel 71.435 inches. Okay? So we need to figure out how many times is it going to roll to get to 3,801,600 inches. So to do that, we'll just divide. So we'll take 3,801,600 and divide it by 71.435. And that will give us 3801,600 600 divided by 71.435. It gives us 53,217. I'm going to write out all of these decimals, so I'll probably have to come back to this. So 53217 point 61042. Okay, so that means it's going to be this many revolutions per hour. So what your tire or what your car knows is that when it travels 53,217.61042 revolutions in an hour, the car is traveling at 60 miles per hour. So that's kind of what it's calculating. Obviously, it's not doing it every hour, it's doing it much more frequent than that. But if your car is set at a 22.75-inch tire, then it knows that this many revolutions per hour is going to be 60 miles per hour. So if we up the tire size, it's still going to know that 53,217 revolutions is 60 miles an hour, but it's not because our tire is now bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the circumference of this bigger tire. So the circumference of the big tire, we'll just put C big, that's going to be 3.14 times 23. And that's going to be, well, let's calculate it. It's 72.22 inches. So if this tire travels 53,217.61042 revolutions in an hour, how far has it really gone is the question. Because we know it's going to go farther because it's a bigger tire, but how much farther is the question. So we'll take the revolutions per hour, because this is what the car thinks it's traveling at 60 miles an hour, times our new circumference, so 53,217.61042 times 72.22. And that's going to give us how far the car will travel with this new big tire. I lost it. Alright, well, I'm just multiplying these two numbers here. So 53,217.61042 times 72.22. So now your car has traveled 3,843,375.8 inches. So it's traveled farther, and that makes sense because the tire is bigger. So what we need to do is figure out how many miles it has traveled in that hour. Because this took us an hour to get this far. The car thinks it's traveling at 60 miles an hour, but it's not. So now we're basically going to undo this. We're going to undo the 12 inches and undo the 5,280. So we'll divide by 12 this time, and then divide by 5,280, and this will give us our miles per hour. So now you're traveling at 60.7 miles per hour. So it really didn't affect your speed that much. The cops aren't going to get too worried over that. So with the bigger tire, it's about 60.7 miles per hour. Now, as I was figuring this out, I thought, well, there's got to be a quicker way. I don't really want to do this calculation every single time to figure out how do I convert it. So, because what if we ended up putting up, huge tires on, changed it to like 27-inch tires? How would that affect it? So there's actually a quicker way to doing this. If you notice, we multiplied by 5,280, then we multiplied by 12, and we got this number. And then we did some stuff, and we got a different number, and then we divided by 12 and divided by 5,280. So we really just kind of undid these things. So actually there is a quicker way. We'll do this, I'll make the page a little bit longer. All you have to do is take you don't even have to calculate the circumference really. You have to take the diameter of the old tire divided by the diameter of the new tire. Oh, I think I got that backwards. You want the new one on top. So the diameter of the new, not old, of the new tire divided by the diameter of the old tire, and then times it by whatever your miles per hour is. So you can convert this for 100 miles an hour, let's say. So, and let's just double check and make sure that this works. So we would do, based on what I said here, it would be 23 divided by 22.75, and then times 60. And so let's check in our calculator. What I'm looking for is 60.7. If that's what I get, then this little trick will work every time. I wanted to show you why up above though. So let's go back to our calculator. 23 divided by 22.75 times 60. And look at that, it's the exact same number here as it is down here. So your simple conversion, if you just want to remember a formula, would be this. So it doesn't matter what the miles per hour or what the tire sizes changes are. This would be your formula for calculating the actual speed of your car if you change tire sizes.